Hello everyone. So what is Hoor? Hoor is a plural word. The masculine singular version of it is ahwar, which is on the same weight as akbar. Just so you know that. Meaning, what does it mean? It means something that does more of the action of har or hawara. So that's the root of this word, and we're going to get to it. Give me a few seconds. So feminine singular of ahwar is hawra, which is again is at the same weight of kobra, akbar, kobra. Hur is the plural of hawra, right? So it is feminine. Hur is feminine, but it does not necessarily mean feminine. It does not necessarily refer to women in Arabic. For example, sayyara is a feminine word in Arabic meaning car, right? Another example is shams. Shams means the sun that is in the sky. It's feminine. So it doesn't mean that a car or a vehicle is a woman, or shams or the sun is also a woman. It doesn't mean that. So names in Arabic, different objects in Arabic are assigned a gender, sometimes feminine, sometimes masculine. It has nothing to do with being a woman. I want you to keep that in mind. So the plural of hawra is hur. So hur are the things that always go and return faithfully, something that goes and returns. So here is the root of this word. Hara means to return. So that's what it means, to return. As you can see, if you look at the current Quranic dictionaries, or if you look at the translation of the Quran, what they say is that maids of paradise on account of the splendor of their black eyes. In the current translation, which has nothing to do with the root of this word, just want you to know, it says these are women who have wide black eyes. The question is, what if someone doesn't like black eyes? I know many people. I personally like brown eyes. I don't like black eyes. I find them scary. I have many friends that like blue eyes. I have friends that like green eyes. Some friends like hazel eyes. And there are, of course, people who like black eyes. So who do we need to talk to if we don't want to have black-eyed maidens in paradise? And so that's a big question for equity, equality. So who determines that? So that is the first problem that you should have with this translation. But let me share with you something very interesting. If you look at main Arabic dictionaries such as Lane Lexicon or Lisan al-Arab, you find some very interesting meaning for the word hawra, plural, which is hur. So what does that mean? It means a round or circular burn made with a hot iron around the eye of a camel. Interesting. So called because its place becomes white. So basically a camel, it's a hawra when you brand it with this hot iron. In the old days, they would brand this camel with a hot iron and they would tame it. So that would be a hawra. And then again, you read that a young camel, when just born or until weaned, from the time of its birth until big and weaned. So isn't that interesting? So basically, at the time in the old days, they used to call a young camel that they would brand and they would tame it from early ages, meaning this camel is going to be completely tamed. And you sometimes see this in the movies, right? Somebody whistles and the camel or the horse or the donkey, they come to you. As soon as you whistle, they come to you, they return to you. Remember the root of the word? Hara, what was that? To return, something that returns to you. So a camel, that tells you that the original meaning of this word is something that returns to you. It becomes tamed to you so that it always returns to you. It's a horse that follows you wherever you go. As soon as you call it, it comes to you, you ride it, you go, you come back. Or a camel that does the same thing. So that gives you an indication of the original meaning of this word. Now, to corroborate what we just discussed, let's look at some Quranic example. إِنَّهُ ظَنَّ أَن لَن يَحُورَ. He said he thought that he would never return. Why? Because we as human beings, Adam left paradise. We were all our genetic material. We were all included in Adam and Eve's genetic material, right? So we left the heaven, we came to the earth, and we're going to go back. So we left the heaven, our original house, our original residence, and we're going to go back there. So it says, أَنَّهُ ظَنَّ أَن لَن يَحُورَ. He thought that he would never return because he has left and he's going to return. Again, you see the same root is being used here. Another example in the Quran, فَقَالَ لِصَاحِبِهِ وَهُوَ يُحَاوِرُهُ. He was debating him. He was arguing with him. What happens when you are debating or you are arguing with someone? The conversation is moving, the words are moving, your mind, the turn is moving from you to him. You say something, then that other person says something that comes back to you. So the turn for that argument, the conversation is kind of like a back and forth. Back and forth. It's going from you, it comes back to you, goes from you, comes back to you. So that's why the Quran uses yuhawiruhu. Of course, we know the Quran uses the word Hoor Ein. So what is Ain that is used in the Quran? It's also very important. So singular masculine of Ain is A'yan. And then the singular feminine is Aina. And the plural of it is Ain. Now, Ain or Ayana or Ain has a meaning that is often disregarded and forgotten, even though it is used in the Quran specifically. If you go to the Arabic dictionaries, you can find it under the wadan of Ayana. So what does it mean? It means to individualize something, to particularize it, to specify it, to itemize it, to designate it. So basically to customize something. So when you individualize something for someone or you particularize it for someone, what are you doing? You are customizing it. You're customizing that thing for a person. So let me show you, you're specifying it. Let me show you a Quranic example of it. Verse number 37 of chapter 11. It says, وَاسْنَعِ الْفُلْكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا. If you look at the translations, it says, construct, build the ark, build the ship under our eyes and our inspiration. And this is actually one of the better translations, under our eyes and under inspirations. But what it actually means is build the ship, build the ark under or according to our specification, customization, particularization, which is basically we tell you specifically how to build it. We tell you specifically how to customize it. The situation has been fully observed and assessed by our Creator so that the ship will be customized according to Allah's plan so it can contain all the creatures in it and survives the flood. That's what it means. وَاسْنَعِ الْفُلْكَ بِأَعْيُنِنَا. Build it under our specifications, under our directions. So given what we have talked about so far, what does the Hoor mean? Let's talk about it. Hoor are things that leave but always return. So what is it? It's a transportation device that always comes back home. It was used in the old days for young camels that were branded and tamed at young age. So imagine a camel, horse, or donkey that comes to you when you will, when you whistle, when you call their name. At the time of the Prophet, of course, you would have had to describe them as, For example, flying donkey or flying horse, flying camel or flying carriage, because vehicles as exist today did not exist back then, right? So if you told someone about cars in the old days, they had no idea what you're talking about. They're like, oh, is it some sort of a horse that acts that way? Or they wouldn't know what airplanes are, right? Now, so our cars, our vehicles today are also Hoor, because you leave your home, but you always return home with them. But please keep in mind, one thing I want to mention, that the Hoor in paradise could either be a live being or a device. I have no idea, because Allah creates whatever He wants in whatever manner He wants. I don't know if these are actually devices or these are live beings. So what does the Ayn mean? Ayn means fully customized and individualized for the owner with whom it is paired. It's something, when you describe something as Ayn, it means something that has been observed, inspected, and consequently individualized and customized for that person. So you might have a question and you might ask, why does the Quran describe the Hoor as qasiratu tarf? Qasiratu tarf means lowering the edge, something that lowers its edge. Why do the Hoor lower their edges? So they do that so you could comfortably get in or ride them without having to bend or experience any discomfort. Even as of today, well-trained camels and horses, if they are well-trained, and please go to places and see that, they actually lower their edge. Camels lie down, they lower their edge, and some horses, some really well-trained horses do the same. They lower their edge so you can get on them. Otherwise, you won't be able to do that. Modern luxury cars, for example, if you purchase one of those expensive modern luxury cars, they lower their edge. In this case, lower their running boards. They have these edges, the running boards that are lowered so you can get in them. So that's what the Quran is talking about. Hoor Ein, when it's talking about their qasiratu tarf, it's not talking about the women looking in a seductive way. I have no idea why these people thought these things. They were definitely sexually deviant. You know that. It's obviously when you read that. All he's talking about is that they're going to be lowering their edges so you can ride this vehicle, ride this transportation device. Now, Quran also says, قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ عِينٍ. It means they're lowering their edges, fully customized, fully individualized based on your step. So it's customized for you. It's individualized for you so that you can step in without any problems, without bending, without causing any discomfort for you. And the other term the Quran uses is قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ أَتْرَابٍ. What does that mean? It means they're going to be lowering their edges fully leveled. Atrab means is something that is fully leveled, very smooth. So they're lowering their edges, they're lowering their edge so you can get in very smoothly in a very leveled way. So you're not going to have any sort of discomfort getting into this transportation device. So what does the Quran mean when it says زَوَّجْنَاهُمْ بِحُورٍ عَيْنٍ? So remember, the word used here is زَوَّجْنَا بِهِ. زَوَّجْنَا بِهِ. When that bih is used here, I'm going to write it down here. It's a bih. It's a small زَوَّجْنَا بِهِ. This is very different. This is never used for marrying someone. When you want to use for marrying someone, for example, Quran uses زَوَّجْنَا كَهَا. So the bih is not used. Now, زَوَّجْنَا بِهِ is not for marriage. It's used for pairing something with something else, when you pair them together. And this is because each inhabitant of paradise is fully paired and assigned one brand new Hawra, which is the singular of Hoor. So the Hawra or the Hoor are paired with you. They are paired with your DNA. They are paired with your mind. It goes whenever you will to wherever you will without any words. It's literally connected to you. You will it, it happens. There's no need to press any buttons. It only works for you. You cannot sell it or change it. Only you can touch it. Only you can get in it. Only you can travel in it. Therefore, the Quran says, لَمْ يَتْمِثْهُنَّ إِنْثٌ قَبْلَهُمْ وَلَا جَانٌ. It means no human or jinn has touched them before. They cannot touch them. They cannot even approach them. So your Hawra, which is a singular of Hoor, is only for you. If Allah selects you for paradise, if you end up in paradise, you're going to have this transportation device that is connected to you. You think it, he will go. You think you want to go somewhere, it will take you there. She will take you there. That's how it is. Not a woman. It has nothing to do with a woman. This is a transportation device that transfers you across paradise. So what does the Quran mean when it says حور مقصورات في الخيام? It means that the Hoor will be parked in special pavilions. It means the Hoor, the transportation devices that are contained in pavilion. Just like today, you have a precious car, you have a beautiful car. Where do you park? You don't leave it outside. You park it in your garage, right? In a beautiful, clean parking spot. So remember that Arabs 1400 years ago didn't have any good concepts of vehicles parked in designated areas. Now, Quran, and that's why the Quran says to us that we simplified the Quran in your language. It means the concepts that the Quran, but Allah simplified them in the language of the Arabs 1400 years ago so they could understand it. But you might ask, why do we need transportation in paradise? Remember, paradise is not a village, it's not a small town. In fact, it's huge. Let's read verse number 133 of chapter 3. It says, but hasten towards the forgiveness, maghfiratan, forgiveness of your Lord, and towards a garden, towards a paradise whose width is that of the whole of the heavens and of the earth. So the paradise, don't have this idea of this little town or little village that people walk around. Paradise is the width of it is the width of the heavens and the earth. Is much, much bigger than what we have today. So imagine you want to go from one point of paradise. Imagine Los Angeles in California in the US to Sydney, Australia. Again, I'm telling you this example. It's an example. Of course, there's not going to be, these places are not going to exist there. But that's how big it is. Now, it's much bigger. The width of it is the width of the heavens and the earth. So, of course, you're going to need a transportation device. You cannot walk. You cannot bike. So, you're going to have your own transportation device. And those transportation devices in paradise are called Hoor Ein. It means customized Hoor. The Hoor, or the transportation devices that have been fully customized for each person, for the inhabitants of heaven. So you get in them and you will that you want to go from this corner of paradise to the other corner of paradise, and you're going to be in a second. So now the question you have to ask yourself is that how come every aspect of paradise is discussed in the Quran except for the transportation? You don't have anything in the Quran about the transportation in paradise, yet Allah tells us in the Quran that paradise, the width of it is the width of the heavens and the earth, which is even bigger than what we have today. So how do you transfer yourself in paradise from point A to point B if you want to go see someone? Imagine you want to go see your parents, your great grandparents, Adam and Eve. You want to go visit them. How do you get to them? The answer is that transportation is actually fully discussed in Quran in detail. But Satan, our biggest enemy, Iblis, our biggest enemy, Lucifer, changed the meanings and made it all about sexual desires and lust. That's how Satan operates. إنما يأمركم بالسوء والفحشاء. He commands you to do bad things and sexual immorality. That's what Satan does to you. He has changed the meaning of Hoor Ein to something that is completely lustful, completely immoral, completely shameful. Now let me tell you about other feminine vehicles in Arabic. So car is also feminine, ship is also feminine, spaceship also feminine. Doesn't mean that these are women. Please pay attention, my brothers and sisters. It doesn't mean that these are women. These are objects, but they are feminine. It means that the word that is used for them is feminine. The adjectives that are used for them are feminine as well, but it doesn't mean that they are women, okay? So you might ask, how do the Hoor look like? Quran describes them as pearl-shaped and egg-shaped with shiny colors such as pearls, rubies, and corals. But most probably they are egg-shaped, UFO-like vehicular devices or creatures. And these creatures or devices are fully customized for each dweller in paradise and paired with their genetics. They also never get dusty or dirty like sheltered pearls or sheltered eggs. So they never get dusty. That's why the Quran uses baydun maknoon. It means that it's covered, it's sheltered. So you never find them muddy, or you never find them dusty or dirtied or any. It's always shining. But actual pearl, this is how they look like. You can see it's very similar to an egg. So it has that oval shape. This is natural pearl. This is natural pearl as you find it in the nature. There's more pictures of natural pearls. Again, you see they're very egg shaped, and you see how shiny they are, how white they are. Another picture of a natural pearl for you so you can see how it looks. And this is an egg. Again, you see how similar they look. It's that I showed you the pearl and I showed you the egg. Imagine this is this vehicle that is suspending, and as you approach it, no one else can touch it. But as you approach it, it gates open and it lowers its edge just like a running board. And as I'm showing to you in this video, you see this car. As you open the door, the running board comes down and you enter the car, you sit in yourself. So this is the same way. However, for the Hoor, you don't need the inhabitants of heaven, the true believers. They don't even need to bend down. It's customized for them. And as you go in, it's connected to you, to your DNA, to your mind, to your genetics. It only works for you. And you decide that you want to go to the other side of paradise, and you go there and you pick up your fruits that you want, or you visit whoever you want to visit over there, and then you come back. It's a Hoor. It goes and returns. It always comes to you regardless of where you are. As soon as you need it, Hoor will be there and to take you wherever you want to go. Now let's look at the Quranic verses that mentioned Hoor together. So it says, كَذَلِكَ وَزَوَّجْنَاهُمْ بِحُورٍ عِينٍ. It means, if you look at the traditional translation, this is embarrassing when I see that. It's all right. Of course, they don't know, but inshallah, these people will look at this video, they will watch it, and they learn, and inshallah, this will get fixed. But it says we married them to wonderful companions, most beautiful women. Has nothing to do with women. It says we paired, kazalika, in the same manner, we paired them with Hoor Ein. It means transportation devices that are customized for them. يَدْعُونَ فِيهَا بِكُلِّ فَاكِهَةٍ آمِنِينَ. They can call for all kinds of fruits, because anything that you crave, you get into your hawra, and you just go there in a fraction of a second and come back, and it's available to you anywhere on top of any tree. So everything is accessible to you utilizing hawra or riding your Hoor. وَحُورٌ عِينٌ كَأَمْثَالِ اللُّؤْلُؤِ الْمَكْنُونِ. It says customized transportation devices, customized returners, just like sheltered pearls. I showed you the picture of the pearls because they never get dirty, they never get muddy or dusty, they never get unclean, they don't have engines like we know. They're always shiny and 100% clean. They are perfect, always perfect, always perfect, just like you will be perfect. If you go to paradise, inhabitants of paradise will always be perfect, shiny. Everyone will be perfect. فِيهِنَّ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ. In them are those things that lower their edges. I explained that to you so that you can write them. لَمْ يَطْمِثْهُنَّ إِنْسٌ قَبْلَهُمْ وَلَا جَانٌ. No human beings or jinn has touched them before. They are for you. Nobody has touched them before you. No ants, no human beings, no jinn. They're brand new for you. And then it says كَأَنَّهُنَّ الْيَاقُوتُ وَالْمَرْجَانُ. They are as if they are rubies and corals. They're shiny, they're clean, various colors. Once again, مُتَّكِئِينَ عَلَى سُرُرٍ مَصْفُوفَةٍ. They will be reclining on this beautiful furnishing. وَزَوَّجْنَاهُمْ بِحُورٍ عِينٍ. It doesn't, this is, again, one more time, this is زَوَّجْنَا بِهِ, has nothing to do with marriage. It means that we paired them with. It's you're paired with it. That Hawra is paired with your genetic. It says we paired them with this transportation devices that are customized. وَعِنْدَهُمْ قَاصِرَاتُ الطَّرْفِ عِينٍ. And beside them there are these lowerers, these things that lower their edges in a customized fashion. They're customized, lower their edges for them in a customized manner, fully customized for them, right? كَأَنَّهُنَّ بَيْضٌ مَكْنُونَ. As if they are eggs that are sheltered. They are sheltered and it's perfect. You can't even stand on it. I don't think you even have to sit. It's just perfect. It's full comfort when you go inside of it. And then 55:70 says فِيهِنَّ, in those four gardens, I mean, you have to read the verses above, خَيْرَاتٌ حِسَانٌ. There are these things that are good and beautiful. خَيْرَاتٌ حِسَانٌ. These are good things that are beautiful. And then what are these good things that are beautiful? It says Hoor, these transportation devices that faithfully always are attached to you and return to you. مَقْصُورَاتٌ فِي الْخِيَامِ. They're contained or parked in these pavilions. So this مَقْصُورَاتٌ فِي الْخِيَامِ, it means contained in pavilions. These are not sexual objects for lust and doing horrible things. These are transportation devices, my brothers and sisters. You call yourself Sunni, Shia, it doesn't matter. I was in your shoes many years ago. I made the exact same mistakes that you have made. But Allah guided me to His path and taught me these concepts, and I'm sharing this with you. This is for the first time, probably in 1400 years, that I'm revealing the true meaning of Hoor Ein to all of you so you can understand, so you can think about it. And my goal of this channel is not to have subscribers. I'm not producing any income on this. It's all for you to learn. I'm just doing what is my duty as a servant of Allah, to teach His verses to all of you as well, so you and your families can prosper. You and your families can be guided as well. So please watch the other videos that I have for Salah, for the prayers, for fasting, for zakah, for many other concepts. Everything I have shared in this channel, everything I have shared is what Allah has taught me, and I'm sharing them with you as He has taught me. And I want to end with this verse from the Quran, and I want to tell you why this happened, because a lot of you are asking, how did it happen? How did they change something that is so obvious to black-eyed women? That it's because of this. Quran actually commands us in verse number 168 and informs us of it, of chapter 2. And this is the part I want you to pay attention to. لا تتبعوا خطوات الشیطان. Do not follow the footsteps of the devil. For he is to you a clear and evident enemy. And then it tells you about the devil. It says, إنما يأمركم بالسوء والفحشاء. The devil only commands you, definitely the devil commands you to do bad things and to fahsha, sexual immorality. That's why the meaning of Hoor Ein changed to technically prostitutes. That's what it means. There's no other meaning for that. And also the devil commands you, again the same thing, أن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون, that you should say of Allah, about Allah, that which you have no knowledge. And then Quran tells you something after that. My brothers, my sisters, those of you who call yourself Sunni, if you follow the Shia, you follow the Hadith, or whatever religion you follow, I am calling you to follow what Allah has sent down for us. إِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ. Whenever you tell them to follow what Allah has sent down, what is it that Allah has sent down to us? It's His book. But you say, no, we are not going to want to follow that. We want to follow the Hadith because that's the Sunnah of the Prophet. And that's exactly what this verse is telling us. It says that your answer is بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ مَا أَلْفَيْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاؤُنَا. No, we don't want to follow the Quran alone. We just want to follow what we found our fathers doing. Nay, we shall follow the ways of our fathers. My brothers, my sisters, at this point it should be quite obvious that our fathers, our parents, mine as well, 1200 years ago, they were misled by the devil, by Lucifer, by our enemy, and they were led astray. We don't have to follow on their footsteps. All we have to do is that we have to follow what Allah sent down to us. And the verse tells us, أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. What, even though their fathers were not thinking, they're not pondering, and they were not guided. And you can see that they were misled. They followed their whims and their desires, and the devil deceived them. Hopefully you learned a lot from this, and hopefully now you should be able to understand all the verses in the Quran that talk about Hoor Ein. Peace and blessings to all the true believers.